in soon. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. Good.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning. Yeah, it's been I just got back from Chicago being at the Journey Def Leppard Steve Miller Band concert. So I got home late last night and I'm just trying to get my head right around business here. So I love that.
I'm so jealous.
It was
I'm
so
so
fun. It was
I'm a
like going
Journey
back to
fan.
high school and college, like you
I
know every
love it.
song and you're just singing it, and it was a lot of fun. Except the downside, it was 90 degrees. It
Eek.
it was off. Like you just sat there and sweated the whole time. So that was tough, but I got through it. I lived through it. So first world problems, right?
So you must be about my age because
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
definitely a
56. Yeah.
Steve Fury. So I'm 58. So
Yeah, it was awesome. Anyway, so it's kind of good to be like thrown back into things here Wednesday morning. So I appreciate you guys tuning in today. What we wanted to do, well, before we get into this stuff, let's chime in here, let Aaron chime in, give us kind of an update. What is happening with rates? Sounds like maybe we might be seeing some downticks and seeing a little bit already, but give us an update, Aaron.
Yeah. First and foremost, I am in transit. Can everybody hear me well? It's not like a whole lot of background noise or anything.
Yep. Yep.
Yep, we're good.
welcome
Okay,
to the
great.
journey, Aaron.
This is the life we chose. That said, we there was there there was a lot of needle movers last week that came out with numbers in the market, and it's the first time where all of the economists that predict certain things and that we take their opinion very, highly. They actually, the first time they came out and said that this new data is actually going to force the Fed's hand, where it's not going to be hearsay. It's not like it's January where every single month that goes by, we're thinking there's going to be a rate drop, thinking there's going to be a rate drop. It just never happens. The numbers were so strong in the favor of interest rate drops that the market actually moved in. So the market moved interest rates the end of last week down to about 6.875. That was not providing any sort of an additional cost or credit to the borrower. It's just the par interest rate. We talked about that last week a little bit, but it's the even interest rate, and that's right at 6.875 for first-time home buyers on a 30-year fixed. Conventional, that's with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Now, if you look into like VA and FHA, USDA, those are going to be sitting right around 6.5. However, as of late last night, there was a little pricing adjustment and the market did trend backwards a little bit. So right now, as of today, you can still get the 6.875, but it does cost you about 10 basis points. So on a $400,000 loan, it would cost the client $400 to get that interest rate. Or if they took 6.99, they would be getting a lender credit where some of their closing costs are being paid. So all good signs. That being said, I don't really see any actual major rate movement until the Fed's make an announcement, which more than likely will be in September. So we're looking at, in a perfect world, a quarter interest rate drop in September and maybe another one in November, to where we're starting off 2025 at 6.5 to 6.3% on a 30-year fixed conventional. So I wouldn't be too concerned with any of your pre-approvals or any of your clients over the next 30 days. Obviously, stay in touch with your loan officer if things do change. But until there's an actual announcement, there isn't going to be that much influx in your client's approval just based on interest rates.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Love that. Love that news.
And as a side note, guys, I know that some of you have pretty big networks, and you do referrals all over the country, and that's part of which makes EXP great. Keep in mind in disaster zones, for example, if FEMA comes out and designates a certain area disaster zone like Houston due to the hurricane, that plays a factor in your document in getting the loan done. A lot of times there might be a second appraisal or there might be conditions needed. And as long as it's a natural disaster zone, certain investors will not even close on the loan until that sanction is lifted. So just, if you're sending a referral out, always make sure that you're setting expectations and you kind of know what's going on. Just FYI.
Awesome. Awesome, you guys. Great. That's good news. Maybe we've got buyers kind of waiting in the wings to, make a move or whatever. So it sounds like, maybe come September, if they do kick down a little bit more, that might be where we see a little bit more activity because of that. So that's good to know. And again, you're just talking predictions. We don't know for sure what'll happen, but at least things are looking favorable, right? So thanks, Aaron. Appreciate that. So today we want to, I should say again, before I get into the listing part of things, next week's mastermind, we had a guest that we have to reschedule. So what I think I'm going to do next week is we're going to talk about some of the paperwork changes that are coming down the pipeline for Minnesota going into effect mid-August, I'm sorry. Angela, thank you for sharing that stuff from the state meeting and from Viet's stuff. So I'm going to look through that and we're going to kind of touch base more on that, what some of those changes look like in regards to Minnesota and handling buyers going forward. So today we wanted to talk about listings, and the whole buyer compensation thing is throwing a little bit of a I think some fear out there for agents, working with buyers. How is that going to play out? So I wanted to focus on, let's talk about becoming a listing machine, right? Because if we have the listings, we kind of have control over that commission piece and your income, right? If you're just dealing with sellers all day long, where your commission's coming from and your income. So listings of our leverage, we've always said that in this business, it's really where we're able to market ourselves, get our name out there, really do the business that brings more visibility to us and our teams and our business. So focusing on listings has always been, I think, the priority, or should always be the priority. Now, I know there's agents that are just strictly buyers agents. Maybe you're on a team and that's what you do, and that's okay. So this may not necessarily 100% apply to you, but you certainly can still be doing things to garner some listing referral business, if that's the situation. So I wanted to talk, I'm hoping, Asha, I see you on here, or I saw you on here. Is Bob coming on, or are you guys?
I'm on.
Okay, there you are. Oh, I just didn't see you. Sorry, Bob. Perfect.
That's okay. I snuck in a little bit late, so
I
sorry
know,
about
I just looked at the whole thing. I don't know why I didn't see your name, so sorry about that. So, we've got Bob Snyder and the Snyder team. They do quite a bit of business here in Minnesota. So I wanted Bob and his team to share what they do. Bruce and I will share a little bit about what we do to get that listing business. And I also want this to be a mastermind. Joe, if you want to share what you're doing, I want to have some agents that are doing some good business kind of chime in and say maybe some of the unique things that you're doing to focus on listings moving forward. So Bob, I'm going to put you on the spot and let you kind of start out with, what do you guys do as a team to focus on the listing side and getting those listings?
That's a good question. So, first of all, you want to make sure you're connecting in and you have a very organized CRM to be able to reach out to people who are in your sphere, past clients, etc. So, one thing that we do is we have anybody who has an address that is in our database. We set them up with we use a program called Ylopo, where we set them up on what's called a seller experience, where they're getting regular updates on their home value. And we are being notified when they are looking at their home values, so we can kind of not intercept it or be like Big Brother, but basically just ask out if there's any additional things that they've maybe done to the home that we should be tweaking the value. And then obviously, if they're a little bit more serious, we would offer a full-fledged CMA. So that's one thing that we're doing with our past client piece. And for me, being in the business for 25 years, that's a big part of my business. I don't necessarily go out and solicit, new listings from people who I haven't worked with before. So a lot of my business is based on referral, repeat type stuff. Now for our team, a lot of where their listings are coming from is they're coming from buyer leads. So, you know, you see a lot of people trying to sell you seller leads. Well, the best seller leads are many times buyer leads. So, you know, because a lot of times they may be buying up, they may be transitioning or what have you. So, you know, we buy leads as a team. We buy leads through Zillow. We buy leads through Realtor.com. We utilize the YLOPO piece as well. Zillow is a big part of our business still to this day. But a lot of our team listings, and we don't have just buyer agents on our team. Our agents do everything. So a lot of the buyer leads that they convert and purchase, a lot of times will turn into a listing for our agents on our team. So we're definitely buying leads to get access to listings, as well as we have electronic or farms in our database as well. So what we're doing is with those farms, we are putting them on a seller experience through YLOPO as well to provide them with updated home values. They're getting our newsletter on a monthly basis. You know, we're in Lake Elmo here in Minnesota, but about 60% of our business is here in the St. Croix Valley area. But the other 40% is in Wisconsin. So, you know, so we do a lot of stuff in Wisconsin as well. So that's where we're mainly getting our leads, through buying buyer leads, through working our sphere and our past clients. That's really where we're getting the majority of our listings right now.
So question for you, Bob, because, you know, I know a lot of agents are like, do I spend the money to buy leads? Do I not? Are they quality leads? You know, I worked at a brokerage previous to EXP that, you know, they were just anti-buy leads. Don't do it. You know, this is your information. Those people are stealing your information and selling it back to you, you know, that kind of a thing. So tell me a little bit more about, you know, do you find your ROI very strong with buying leads, and are they, you know, what's the quality like?
Yeah, so you got to work through the quality piece, right? So that's always the challenge of it, and the leads only as good as the agent's follow-up is. So what happens is a lot of times, and we're constantly talking about this with the team, is you can't just follow up with them once or go show them a house and then not re-engage with them. So the follow-up piece is key because they're probably set up on searches with other agents as well. Okay. So the agent who's the most aggressive, who's providing the most value, I'm sure we'll talk about value next week when we're talking about buyer agency agreements and whatnot. But the ones that are giving the most value to those leads are the ones that are going to ultimately convert them. So in order to do that, you have to have a really good CRM. You have to have a really good structured, disciplined schedule that you're working through. So you're time blocking for your prospecting with those particular leads. And really, you should know the market better than anybody if you're planning on trying to get that buyer converted. So, you know, and I tell my agents too, I'm like, if you guys aren't busy, you should be previewing homes, you should be scouring the MLS, you should be working your networks to find these opportunities so you can then present those to the buyers. And buyers love having access to information that the general buyer may not have access to. So our ROI used to be so much better with Zillow. We've been with Zillow for 13 or 14 years now. So we were one of the original people that got involved in that. When we first got involved with Zillow, our ROI was 7 to 1. Right now, we're about 2.5 to 1, roughly in that range. So it still works, but we have to, our follow-up has gotten much more regimented over time as well, because it's just so much more competitive when you're buying those online leads.
Right.
So it really all depends on the source, but the key with buying leads is the follow-up. That's really what it's all about. So if you're buying leads and you're not following up with them, it is absolutely a waste of your money. Or if you don't have a schedule to follow up with them, don't do it.
Yeah, we used to say, we did Zillow years ago, and we used to say, you have to call them every single day. You basically have to keep calling them until they tell you not to call them anymore, right? Because you have to get out of your own way when you're doing these you know, it's basically your discipline, right? You're going to time block every day to follow up with those leads and give them a call back. And you have to just keep doing it until they tell you no. And if you think, oh, I'm bothering them, or I already called them yesterday, you need to get out of your own way and just follow the process, right? And I think that's where you're going to get better turnover. So if you guys are out there buying leads, or you're getting leads from, you know, maybe you're not buying them, but you're just getting some leads in from other sources, you know, I think that's it. And if you don't have a really good, what's the number, conversion rate, you know, on those phone calls to getting appointments or getting through, then there's so much free training out there on script practice and role playing with people to just get better on phone scripting, you know, and the leads, you know, phone leads, that I would encourage you guys to find. You know, if you're with EXP, there's so much EXP training you can log into that does the role playing and things like that. But if you're not with EXP, there's, again, so much online for you to get better, or find a role play partner just to time block, you know, 15, 20 minutes every day to just hop on the phone and say, okay, today's my turn. I'm going to be the client, or today's your turn. And, you know, you're going to be the client. I'm going to be the agent, and just practice those scripts so that it just becomes, you know, that muscle memory and so easy for you to do. Okay. So you have to do things to better your conversion rates or your ROI as well. So awesome. So you, Bob, you said you used, is it Y Local?
Why Lopo?
Oh,
So it's
Lopo. Okay.
LOPO, and then that integrates really well with Follow Up Boss. That's what we're using now. Is
Okay.
We're using Follow Up Boss as our CRM. So that integration works really well. So basically, what YLOPO is, it's the IDX on top of Follow Up Boss. For those of you who don't know what IDX is, it's basically allowing you to have access to all of the MLS listings out there, so you can create your own customized searches that are a little bit more tailored to your brand, etc. So we just made that move a couple months back.
Okay.
So I'm sure the team would say, you know, it's a learning curve for sure. You know, it's definitely a learning curve, and we're you know, once you get used to working with it, and once you get used to putting your prospecting schedule in place, you know, that's where we're starting to see more and more results. So yeah, it's been a good fit for us. And then another thing that we're doing as well is we get coached by Tom Ferry. So you know, the one thing that we're trying to do as a team is not be reliant upon online leads like Zillow, because Zillow ultimately has an end game, and the end game is not going to be an agent friendly thing. Okay. So, you know, my belief is that eventually Zillow is going to be its own brokerage, and they're going to do their own thing, and these large mega teams that are so wrapped into Zillow through their Flex program, etc., are going to be faced with a really strong choice someday. So we want to make sure that we're able to do things that will allow us still to generate good leads, but not be so in bed, for lack of a better term, with a company like Zillow. So we're doing some social media things that we're trained on last week, which is talking about home value, reaching out through social media outlets, asking people kind of, you know, talking about the Zestimate, and talking about certain situations where we've been in where, you know, don't trust your Zestimate. Sometimes it's low, sometimes it's high. So we're going to be doing some social media posting around some of the home value aspects of it, because that's one thing that definitely generates real estate conversations, is home values. So
Absolutely.
we're going to be doing more. We're going to have more of a social media presence as we continue to move forward, because we haven't had a strong social media presence. It really is not, quite frankly, my strong suit. But being coached on how to do it efficiently and effectively, and allowing our agents to be able to create their brands and be able to effectively have outreach. We're excited to see how that all works out. So.
Awesome. I agree that creating conversations, you guys, is the key, right? I mean, that's what we're in business to do. We're about building relationships, and sometimes somebody isn't ready to sell now, but just having conversations and positioning yourself as an expert in the field is what you want to do, right? And so they use YLOPO through their CR or through Follow Up Boss. Bruce and I use HomeBot. And that's just another company that does that. It allows, those home valuations to be sent to our database. And then it allows the client to go in and say, oh yeah, I'm interested in my home value. And here are some of the things that I've done to my house, the upgrades, the updates, the whatever, what's my value right now, right? And so we get a lot of response from those emails going out, but what it's just doing is it's an opportunity to engage those sellers. They might not be ready yet, but now we know who's kind of has a little interest, right, about what their value is like. And that might just be the start of them thinking about selling. So you want to be able to engage those people and stay in relationship with them. So if you guys, want to look into either one of those programs, it's kind of a fun way. Maybe Bruce, you can speak a little bit more to like what HomeBot does on the back end quickly in regards to just other than home value emails.
Yeah, it's got, it's pretty intensive. It's got the home values. The thing that I like is that it's automated. It gathers all the information from all of the county records, all the public records. So it estimates their current home value. It'll give mortgage information. It'll give comparables. And it also breaks down your investment criteria. So you should have, based on the mortgage that they have and the value of the house, you have X amount of dollars in equity. What could you use that equity for? If you sold your house, could you invest it? What happens if you rent your house? What kind of income could you have off of that? So there's a lot more than just the home value. So it gives them things to think about that they could do with their equity, and it even goes into like if you sold your house, you could invest your equity in another house. If you wanted to downsize, you have equity that you could buy a boat or buy a car or do whatever. So it offers a lot of options to people.
And just things to, again, start a conversation, right? Spark interest, make them start thinking like, oh, I didn't think about that. Wow, I really do have a lot of equity in my home. So it's really kind of a good program that, again, we've seen really great response to just get in conversation with people. The values on that, I'll tell you, are not always 100% accurate. It's kind of like a Zestimate, right? You just never know. They're pulling from the county information. But I've gotten people go, wow, if this is the value of my home, yeah, I'm ready to sell, kind of joking. But again, it doesn't matter. And I always say, well, the good thing is it's information. Let me run some comparables here locally and just make sure, we'll see how accurate it really is, So again, just gives you an opportunity to get in conversation with somebody. So some of the other things.
One other quick thing on that, we made sure to take our entire database and set them up on there. You can upload a CSV file, and all you need is their name, their email address, their home address, and if they have a spouse, you can put them in. But that's really all you need, and it puts together all that information. So you have your entire sphere, your entire database that's getting that email. You don't have to pick and choose who gets it.
Awesome. And like Bob, we have been in the business a long time. So most of our business comes from our sphere of influence. So how we get our listings is, we are heavily committed to constant contact with our sphere of influence and what we call our VIP group. We've actually taken the people who have referred us business, who have bought from us multiple times, we've pulled them out, and in our CRM, we've designated them as a VIP group. And then we've even gone further and designated a smaller group of about 20 people as what we would call our top ambassadors. And those are the people that if I could give them a sandwich board and have them stand on the corner, with my name and contact information, they would do it, right? If they ever hear anybody talking about real estate, they're running over to say, I've got someone for you. I mean, those are your top cheerleaders, right? And so Bruce and I probably, I don't know, touch our sphere of influence, our basic sphere of influence, probably about, what would you say, maybe
35 to 40 times a year.
right. We're in front of them in one way or another, whether it's a simple happy birthday, happy home anniversary, or, here's what's going on in the market. Here's our newsletter. Here, here's some basic information. 35 to 40 times a year. Then we take our VIP group and we have a separate Facebook page for our VIPs where we're posting about our client appreciation events, kind of touching them a few more times and making them feel special. We deliver goodie boxes twice a year to them, and hand deliver them to their house. And again, thank them for, doing business with us and their referrals and how much that means to us. We have client appreciation events throughout the year and happy hours. So we do like a quarterly happy hour and invite them. Hey, let's just, get a free drink on us. Come on, stop on in. And then our ambassadors, we've just decided to do that this year. So we're trying something new. We're having a big ambassador event. So our first one is next Friday night. So we have a 6-course dinner and wine pairing that we're doing specifically for our small group of 20 people. And, we're having swag bags, like we're giving away Yeti coolers filled with stuff. I mean, so pretty nice event for these top 20. We get one deal from them that pays for this whole event. And we know they're the people that will continue to give us that business. We also will be very purposeful with this event. And what I mean by that is there's going to be a little 5-minute me standing up saying, I need your referrals, right? That you guys are the lifeblood of our business and you have given it to us and we need you to continue. So we're going to be very purposeful on here's why you're here and here's what we are hoping to continue to expect from you on a regular basis. Okay. So long story short, love on your people who love you. That is, you will get the most amount of business from your sphere of influence than you will from anywhere else. So just like double down on that, love on them and it's a lot of it's so cheap and free and easy to do. And then if you want to spend a little bit of money like we're doing on some events, do it. But that is, swear to God, the best thing I can tell you to do. Secondly, what we do.
Let me just touch on that real quick. This isn't an overnight thing. I mean,
No.
we are just like Bob, we are playing the long game, right? And it's going to take a while to build all of this up to get to where we are if you're looking at something like this. But if you're a newer agent, you're starting your sphere of influence, right? You're starting to keep track of all your buyers and all your sellers. Just start with them, right? And really make sure that you keep in contact with them. And it's amazing how it just snowballs over a few years, and you now have 3 times as many people in your database or 5 times as many. So, don't think that just because you have a small number that you can't do this, because you can, right? It just happens to be easier and quicker because you have fewer people, right? But just get started. That's what I would say, and be consistent.
Right. So what we also do, that gets us a good amount of listings is probably about 3 years ago, just before we made the transition to EXP, we really started to get into video, Facebook ads, retargeting ads, funnels, building those sales funnels. And I know on here, we probably have some agents that are like, all right, you've already lost me, right? That's just not my thing, right? That's me. So I have a Bruce, which is great. I would tell you guys, if that is not your gig, if you are not really strong in that, that is one thing that I would budget for going forward, is maybe get somebody. You don't have to look for a full-time position. You could get somebody 20 hours a week or 10 hours a week, right? To do just some regular, Facebook ads, retargeting, whatnot, for this. But we started to really do a pretty thorough campaign on, ads towards sellers or ads towards buyers. And obviously today we're talking about listings. So we'll talk about those ads towards sellers, listing your home, home value, staging your home, getting your home ready for sale, right? All of those things that would appeal to somebody who might potentially be selling. Are you thinking of downsizing? Bob mentioned, a lot of seller leads come from buyers. Bruce and I own part of a development here. So as people come to talk about wanting to build, they usually have a house to sell, right? So don't forget that other side of the equation when you meet a buyer, right? To talk about what about the house on the other end, right? So I'm going to turn this to Bruce because this is what he does, but just talking very surface level, Brucey, don't get too deep because we don't want to lose people. So just, what does that look like? And if I'm a beginner, it doesn't have to be like high production value stuff. Like what can we do on a beginner level? And then what's really important in terms of, following up or retargeting?
So Kelly mentioned we do videos. And we started out just like, we had never done videos before, probably before 3 years ago. And we just started out small, and we did a monthly newsletter video, right? We did a little introduction. We had signed up with Keeping Current Matters, and they have an automated newsletter every month, and we would just do a little video intro for that, and we would put that out. That was the start of our whole video production.
And not to interrupt you guys, but if you don't know what Keeping Current Matters is, that's a great website. They do a lot of social posting for you on your behalf. A ton of content that you don't have to think about. Super easy.
Yep. Yeah, you get to go in and pick all the content that you want, how often. You can do holiday posts, things like that. You can target sellers, you can target buyers. But anyway, that's just another option if you want to explore that offline. So we got into scripting and starting to talk about targeting sellers, and we'll just talk about that. But there are so many scripts out there for videos that you can tweak for yourself that are great scripts that talk about sellers and what they need to know, and educating sellers. The thing that we really need to keep in mind is that we're educators, right? We don't want to go out and just hard hammer sell, come use me because I'm the best real estate agent, because we're not going to be seen, right? If you start educating people, then they start listening, because they all have questions, and they all have the same questions, but they're too afraid to raise their hand and say, hey, I have a question. So the more you educate them, the more that you bring them into your sphere, and the more that they watch you, okay, and learn. And there's a greater chance that they will reach out and be a hand raiser and say, hey, when I'm ready to sell, can I talk to you about this? Yes.
Speaking of hand raisers, can you give me an example of like some of what maybe topics would be of some of these videos, Bruce?
Yeah, absolutely. So like for sellers, why is curb appeal so important? And
Yeah. 7
staging.
things to do to prepare your home for sale, right?
Yep. And like staging, and what goes into negotiations, and what is the whole process of hiring a real estate agent? Why should I use a real estate agent versus trying to sell on my own? There are
Even current market stats, Lisa. I mean, people want to know, what's going on? Is this a good time to sell? That's a really good one. Is right now a good time to sell your home? Well, it might not be, right? I mean, or it might be. So, think about, here's what I do. Go into Chat GPT and ask Chat GPT to give you the top 10 questions a seller might have, right? Or someone considering selling their home, what do they want to know? And it'll probably spit out, 10 great topics for you to do a video on. And they don't have to be 10 minutes long. It could be 30 seconds of you, doing a quick video of yourself going, hey, just had a seller ask me a question, so I thought I'd just do a quick video on the answer, da 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 da, and you post it, right? These don't have to be top production videos. Now they
No.
can be, but they don't have to be.
Right.
So
And
like you,
we-
Kelly, and like Bob, that Facebook and some of that is not my forte. So that's why I'm asking how to try to use this to be more successful and reach more people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's really even better, and sorry, Bruce, if I'm stealing your thunder here a little bit, but like, again, we use Chat GPT a lot. So, if you go into Chat GPT and say, give me the 10 biggest questions a home seller would have. Now you go, okay, number one, let's say it says, is it the right time to sell? Now you can go, okay, Chat GPT, write me a 1-minute video script answering this question, and optimize it for SEO, right? So that whatever, like you can do those things and it'll pop it out. I mean,
It's crazy.
it is, it's the best thing. So it just takes the work out of it for you. And then you can there are free little teleprompter apps for your phone and your computer. So you can just upload that little script and there it is going down your phone. So you can look right at your camera and you can read it. So now, you look a little bit more professional than just trying to wing it. I mean, if you're good at winging it, wing it, right? But not everybody is. So there are little tools to help it that are free, right? This is all free. And the first couple, I promise you, you're going to be embarrassed. You're going to be, I flubbed that up. I look silly. People don't need perfection. They don't want you to be reading it. They just want to see you and see that you're real. So, even if you go, okay, forget it, that I didn't mean to say that, whatever, blah, they don't care. They'll laugh along with you and they're going to see that you're a real person. But the point is just doing it and being out in front of people consistently, because the more you're out in front of them, the more they start to see you as the expert in the field, right? You do one video and you don't come back for 6 months to do another one, they've already forgotten you and they're going to see me 20 times, a week, right? Versus you once every 6 months. So, yeah.
Okay, you're encouraging me.
Good.
Perfect. Well, and getting back to that, here's a super easy way to get yourself on video, right? We actually started out by doing video texts to our sphere about 3 years ago. And we would do 10 to 15 quick little video texts to our sphere. We just reach out. We would, you can go on Facebook and see what they're doing, kind of stalk them a little bit, see if they've had any life changes, like a job change or a new addition to the family or taking a vacation, whatever. And you just talk to them about it. We have so many responses off of our video texts that it's just crazy. People are like, oh, I haven't talked to you for a long time. I haven't seen you. That's the cool thing about video, right? It's just like this, right? We all see each other's faces and see the inflections and things like that. That's what video does instead of being impersonal with just a text message or an email. Video gets you in front of people, right? So getting over your fear of video, maybe that's one place to start. So we keep talking about 3 years ago because the things that I'm going to show you real quick are going to get a little deep in the woods, but I'll show you what we do versus what Bob does. And it's only taken us 3 years. Okay. So we target, Bob pays for leads, we pay for ads, and I pay for ads and I pay for views. And what we do with the views is we retarget people that have really raised their hand, shown interest in watching our videos, and we retarget them, and we continue to retarget them every week along with running videos. So we're at the point that we run probably 4 videos a week, and well, maybe 3. But let me just show you a couple. I'm going to share my screen real quick, and I'll show you where we've gotten to. So let me just get rid of some of this so that I can see what you're looking at. So this first screen is our Facebook back end. It's actually our ads manager. And can all you guys see this?
Mhm.
Okay, so on the left-hand side are all of our campaigns that we've run. I don't know why this isn't, let's try this. Yeah, so these are all the campaigns that we've run. And just down here on our reach, we've reached 1.7 million people in 3 years. Okay. We've had, these are unique visitors that we've reached. We've got almost 4.7 impressions, which means 4.7 million people have seen our videos. And these are from 330 video campaigns. Okay. We've spent $15,000 over 3 years. So that's $5,000 a year. Okay. But we've got 188,000 through plays, which means people have watched our videos for at least 15 seconds. Okay. Now, if you look at that, you're saying, okay, 15 seconds of a video. If you did a 30-second video, they're watching 50% of it, right? If you did a 2-minute video, they're watching a lot less. And you say, well, 15 seconds of a 2-minute video. What you're doing is you're trying to buy people's attention. Okay. And 15 seconds of a video is quite a bit of attention, especially when we're all on Facebook and you scroll and you don't spend 15 seconds on 95% of the content that's out there, right? This is the biggest number. People that have watched our videos for at least 3 seconds, almost 800,000 people. Now, these are not unique visitors, so people in here may have watched the video 2 or 3 times, okay? But for at least 3 seconds. So this is just from Facebook. Here's another thing, and this is our retargeting. So you can see here, video views 25 seconds, 365. This is the number of people, individual, separate, unique visitors that have watched our videos at least 25% of the way through in the last 12 months. We've got 45,000 of them, 45,000 people. Okay. So in the last 12 months, people that have watched our videos for 3 seconds, 284,000 people. All right. So these are pretty big numbers. And these are all built up over 3 years, but it's a running 365-day total. So what do we do with that? Right. So here's what we do. We take those and we retarget those people every single week with a Facebook ad. And Facebook allows you to retarget those 3-second and 25-second
Viewers.
or 25% video watchers. And those people have already been hand raisers that said, you know what, I'm interested in what your video had to say, whether it be a seller video, whether it be a, that's kind of interesting. I didn't realize I could just raise my hand and do that. So whether it be a seller video, a buyer video, just a monthly market update video. And what all of this does is we have been massively consistent every single week. We haven't missed a week in running at least 1 or 2 videos. Okay. And when we do this, I know that we're talking about listings and getting listings and looking at trying to garner people that are hand raisers for listings, but with our consistency through all of the videos with all of our sphere and going and targeting buyers and targeting sellers, just like Bob said, potentially your best seller lead is your buyers, right? So I would also highly encourage you to make sure that whatever you do, you are just consistent, right? Like Kelly said to Lisa, don't be afraid of the content that you're putting out, just put it out, right? Because people need to see you. People will see you getting better and better and better, and you're providing more content and more education to them, and they will see you as the expert in your market, right?
And
So
bottom line, you guys, video is going to catch someone's attention over a static ad, right? We can run an ad with our logo and something on there all day long, but if video is just more engaging and people, it's just going to draw the attention a little bit better. So like we said, even if there's short little blips like, hey, here's my new listing, blah, 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 or hey, we're doing this event, stop on down, right? It doesn't have to be anything major. Or here are my top 3 tips for getting your home ready or for curb appeal, right? Paint your front door, get fresh flowers, trim down your landscaping. If you have any more questions, call me, right? These are just quick. They could be 15-second, 30-second videos. But if you're doing 2 or 3 of those a week and people are seeing you pop up all the time, I mean, that's the important thing, right? Versus a post that gets lost 15 seconds later and it's never coming back, right? And if you don't get back to do it another month or 2 later. So before Bruce, you're a deep diver, so I want to stop you before you get off.
nope, I'm good. I'm done.
Yeah. But I mean, the whole bottom line is we just have a system where we post, we watch who engages, and then we retarget, right? We're just constantly in front of them. It's no different than Bob and the Zillow lead that comes in. They want to keep following up, keep following up, keep following up till hopefully we break them down and they're ready to ready to engage and ready to make that move. Okay. So it's all about consistency and the follow-up, bottom line. The other thing I would say is be visible in your community, you guys. So this is, I would say, the third thing. So we love on our sphere. We are visible on Facebook and the other socials consistently, and we are visible in our community. Okay. So piggybacking even on the video part, when Bruce and I, if we go out to dinner, we like take a couple pictures and like take a picture of the sign, hey, had dinner at Red Cow or whatever, and like, you guys got to check out their new burger, right? Or here's Natalie, the owner of Victoria's Italian restaurant, and she's a mainstay in the community, and she's such a giver backer. We love her, like just do something, right? Always be out there promoting what you're doing. Or if you're doing charity, you're volunteering to do some charity work, take some pictures and say, hey, we brought our team in, Channel 1 food shelf. We packed boxes all day, hope you guys have time to give back to your community, things like that, right? Just be visible doing stuff outside of real estate so that you're not always like, who's looking to buy or sell? You're looking to invest in real estate. People want to see you outside of real estate as well. Okay. There's a company, I know we did a thing on this earlier. There's a company we work with called Town Sites. And what they do is they allow you to they only allow 1 in every market. So we have the Rochester market, and we own a town site, which is a website called All Things Rochester MN. And so we purchased that, and we now have that website and a corresponding Facebook page where they're supplying content about local, restaurants, events that are coming up, concerts in the area, whatever. But they do squeeze in a little bit of real estate too. So they do some real estate articles. They allow us to have our preferred vendor. So Aaron with Success Lending is a preferred vendor. So he has a little page on Town Sites, but it's really about the community, right? So we're getting a little real estate in there, but we're also promoting our local community and what's happening so people can see us as community supporters, right? So it's not just all real estate. So I would say those would be the 3 things that we do that really do garner that listing business for us. People reach out because we are in front of them with seller advice, seller market stats, seller information, and they're giving us a call. So we've got We've got about 10, 15 minutes left. Anybody else on here do anything unique and fun and different that gets you some listing business that you'd love to share?
Hey, Kelly, I'll chime in here just real quick. And this is more from a business standpoint. I think Bob made a really good point that if your business has been transactional and you're relying on Zillow or online leads, right, the market that we are in and moving in is going to be so different. So what you talked about today, with being relational as well as educational, is so key. If a lot of this sounds overwhelming as far as from a video standpoint, again, just putting my coaching hat on, what you track will show up. So your business plan, if you want to start doing more listings, what are you tracking as far as your activities to ensure that you are moving toward getting more listings? So what I've seen in the past when agents have tried to transition this way too is really tracking your belly to belly appointments. I think that's going to be more important in the moving forward here in the future. And then when you have those belly to belly appointments, what kind of content, value, how you are educating is going to be huge in this market. So what I would say from a business standpoint is start tracking those appointments. And we've done Nick McLean listing trainings in the past, and in there, he has had a great quick CMA. And so if you really wanted to move toward listings, I would say put yourself on a 90-day challenge. And how many CMAs can you do so that you start building a habit and enhancing those skill sets around listings? And I also have a letter, I can try and throw it here. So it was just an example of quick CMAs, a CMA letter. Maybe you're working around current listings. Maybe it's not even your listing, it's an EXP listing, and get those CMA appointments to bring value to the clients who want that knowledge and want your expertise, because there's going to be so many agents out there that probably aren't doing that. So that's my little soapbox for this morning.
Oh, love it. Love it. We used to be part of a different mastermind, and that they did this exact same thing. They said, do you want to master your own neighborhood even, right? Do CMAs, do 20 a week, and just go hand deliver them, right? And all you're doing is just providing value, right, for the people. I love that idea. So, and the other thing you mentioned, Angela, is just that belly to belly. Think about those markets that are going to be needing to list, right? The people who've lived in their home for 15 to 20 years, that senior market, maybe you want to become a senior specialist. There's a designation for that. And add value on how to downsize, things like that, right? Bring that education and that information to those key demographic markets that might be moving here soon, right? The people with a lot of equity in their home. That's another one. So, there are some really specific things if you wanted to say, okay, this year I'm going to focus on getting more listings. Like Angela said, who do I need to be in front of, and what skill set do I need to build to really go down that road, right? And if you guys are just floundering and waiting for the phone to ring, it ain't going to happen. I'm just going to tell you that. The competition it's too fierce out there for you guys to wait and expect like even just your friends and your family to call you, because that's not even a given. And sometimes that's okay, but that's not even a given, right? So you really have to be sharpening the skill sets and getting in the right rooms, right? We always used to say, if we wanted to do luxury business, we need to not go hang out at, in the areas where those people aren't, right? Start attending those functions where the higher end people are going to be, getting in front of the right people and in the right room.
Yeah, I want to reiterate on that too. A lot of my podcasts and a lot of the articles I've been reading, I've never been a niche or a niche agent. I've always kind of thrown a pretty wide net, and I'll work with anybody and go anywhere, right? But everything I'm reading is exactly confirming what you're talking about, is become a area expert. Pick an area and concentrate. Now that area can be fairly big, but pick that area. And then they're also saying, have some kind of niche that you are going to, again, be talking about all of the time, or throwing it in there as little bullet points all of the time, because the consumer's idea of anybody can do this job is changing.
Yeah.
And so they're gonna be looking for a higher service and a higher standard, and you have to differentiate yourself. So I've got to think a little bit differently moving forward, because I've never niched anything. I always said, I don't want to do that. Now everything I'm reading is saying, you know what, we're in a different cycle. The next couple of years are going to look a little different. And so, yes, I think Kelly is exactly on it.
And this is a
Yes.
great thing, Jennifer, because I love that you bring this up, because I think we'll do a mastermind on this. Bruce and I, about 3 years ago, joined Krista Mayshore Marketing. You guys have probably seen her on Facebook, whatever, it costs a lot of money, and we're no longer in that program, but we did it for a number of years. We learned a lot. And this is one of her big key things, is becoming a market leader. Okay. And to do that, it's determining what that niche is, or what that market is that you want to target. And she takes you through these exercises, and we should go through that someday, and just bring up what you need to do to identify what that niche is or what that market is, and really deep diving on setting yourself up as that market or that niche leader. So this is I'm writing this down as a great topic, but yes, that's
I
exactly
think we just have to get a lot more intentional. Our dollars
sure.
aren't going to go as far, and our time isn't going to go as far. And we're going to need to, these relationships are going to take a little bit longer time, I think, over time. So I think being very intentional about who, what, when, and how is going to be pretty critical moving forward. Mhm.
Awesome. Love that.
I think one of the other things I want to touch on, what Angela was saying, was the belly to belly. And I think tying that in with what's coming down the pipe in a month, where for us to show buyers homes, we are going to have to get something signed, right? So we are going to have to do our consultations with buyers before we go into the house. Make sure that that's a belly to belly, face to face consultation, if you can, at as much as you can, because you can also learn so much more about them. And to Bob's point, you'll find out if they have a house to sell. You'll find out if they are in the market to be your seller lead, right? So you can track those, and you can figure out that process that is going to have to change in your business to be able to do that. I think that'll just add one more avenue for us to garner listing business that maybe other agents won't even think to ask.
Yep. And if you guys don't have a listing presentation, that's the other thing. Like, again, when you get the opportunity to get in front of people, you have to look like the expert. You have to look like this is your business 24/7, right? You don't fly in there with a couple MLS sheets that you've printed off for comparables or whatever. You got to have professional stuff. Canva is like, it's like my right-hand man, right? Like, I will build everything on Canva, all my stuff. They even print it super cheap, and it's there within like a week. So easy to do. Digital versions of your listing presentation, platforms like High Note, which we talked about in previous masterminds. All of these things really are going to set you guys apart, but you need to look like you're the industry professional when you're in front of people, so that they feel that they're in good hands. I went in, I'm just going to tell you, I lost a listing. I was so mad. I went in just a couple weeks ago, and it was me and one other guy, and I had to interview with the agent who was making us the referral. So I made it through however many people they interviewed with to be the top 2. And then I went in and I lost a listing. I had my comps down. I had it all dialed in within a range of about 20,000, that they could price anywhere within this $20,000 range, and the comps would compare it. I lost to a guy that gave the seller $100,000 price range swing. Comped her out from 325 to 410. And so she picked him. That I don't know. So I'm just telling you guys, you got to be great, right? You can't just be good anymore. You've got to be great. You've got to have reasons for someone to pick you, and to have them believe that you're the market expert. So trust me, I'm going to be reviewing my game here because that made me really mad. So anything else anybody wants to share here before we part ways on things that you do to get some listings?
I think the one thing too is, we're in a very stressful business, so have fun with it. Align yourself with like-minded people with hobbies that you have. Don't sit at home. Like for me, I go to the golf course. I got hunting clubs I'm part of. A lot of my listings and network come from that, you
Mhm.
know. So get out of the house, do the things that you love to do. Life's too short anyways. Make this business a little bit of fun. And get involved in your church, get involved in, I know Lisa's in the horse community. Get involved in the communities that you really enjoy, volunteer, assist, and you will generate good quality referrals and leads from that. And those are the best type of people to work with.
Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, it gets back to your real estate conversations that you have and having those belly to belly meetings.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, good. Well, thanks you guys for joining us. We really appreciate it. Next week, like I said, we'll focus kind of on more of these changes that are coming down the pipeline and how we can, make those adjustments. And if you have any questions, as always, feel free to reach out, and it's great to see your faces. Have a great
Thanks, everybody. Great to
See
see
ya.
you all.
Great
Right.
meeting. Thanks, you guys.
You bet. Take care.